This program on investing under regulation crowdfunding is not investment advice.
Rising with the crowd, power unbound, change makers lead where hope is found. Superpowers for good, shaping the fate. Investors and dreamers open the gate. Supercross stands loud, proud and true, building tomorrow for me and you.
Welcome. Can you imagine, just for a moment, being a firefighter stuck in a hot situation, your life on the line, and feeling all alone? Well, our guest today has addressed that problem and has a solution, and you have an opportunity to invest and participate. So stick around. You don't want to miss this. Welcome to the Super Crowd Presents Superpowers for Good. I'm your host, Devin Thorpe, and our guest today is Scott Holman. He's the CEO and founder of Redline Safety, and you are not going to want to miss this discussion. Scott, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
We're thrilled to have you and excited to learn more about Redline Safety. Tell us about it.
Well, Redline Safety is a technology company that builds hardware and software solutions for firefighters. We build wearable technology that gathers data. We build communication infrastructure that directs that data into the cloud, and a dashboard system that allows incident managers to watch and interact with all the data that are being produced by our wearables in real time.
That is an amazing technology. You didn't invent this out of an abstract sense that there might be a problem here. You spent your entire career fighting fires. Tell us a little bit about your experience as a firefighter.
Well, it's a fascinating job that I think it takes the right combination of personality and training and commitment to do. It's for people like myself who really enjoy being the solution to other people's problems, helping in the community, and putting myself and others, putting myself in harm's way to help others. I mean, it's who I am. It's been baked into my personality for decades. But it's a fascinating job. Of course, it is dangerous. It's kind of baked into the name of fighting, but it's very rewarding as well. There is nothing like being able to walk away from someone's home and looking back and realizing I had a positive impact on their emergency, and being able to help and comfort and protect total strangers is a job that I've enjoyed for a very long time. And I'm grateful that I had the opportunity, and it's unusual that I made it all those years into retirement and left on my own terms, because many that get into the profession, unfortunately, don't have that opportunity.
I imagine that over your career, you've had the tragic experience of knowing someone who left a fire other than standing up. Is that correct?
Oh, yes. In fact, in my early part of my career, I had a very good friend that when I heard about him dying on the fire ground, I was heartbroken, because part of it was I kind of wished that I had been able to do something to prevent that. It had been a couple of weeks before that. We were on a training assignment, and I was talking to him, and he told me that he wasn't feeling very well, and I didn't think much of it. And later, I found out that he had collapsed on a fire and had been discovered sometime later, and it was just heartbreaking. And I came away from that thinking, if I'd only done something more. And of course, when those things happen, sometimes there's nothing that anybody else could have done. But that was what made me start thinking about the risks that we firefighters face on a short-term and long-term basis. And I just it was hard, but there have been many more since then. And the thought of the helplessness of not knowing what to do and how to prevent it at that time was a profound reminder of the risks that we as firefighters face.
Yeah. I can only imagine the pain of losing friends and the associated sense every time you go to work that you and they are at this kind of risk. Um, so tell us a little bit about the reaction now of the firefighting community to this technology that you're developing, and give us a sense of how they're feeling about it as you try to deploy this.
Well, I've had moments in the early days. I've had moments where people have said, "Why hasn't this been created before?" And I have to agree with them that to me, I guess in hindsight, it looks like it sure seems like this is something that uh, would have been more common. But creating a technology for firefighters that helps protect them in real time, but also helps them for long-term health issues has been received extremely well. They absolutely love it, and can't seem to I guess find any reason not to embrace it. We've done pilot testing with fire departments that have provided terrific feedback and has allowed us to reiterate this hardware into something that's very effective. But they love it. They think it's fantastic. Um, especially when you tell them the story of this 24-year-old firefighter that we were just doing proof of concept testing, and we identified a life-threatening health issue that had to be fixed through surgery. And when you tell them that story, they all seem to think that they can't wait to get this on them, because they want to know, first of all, what are they exposed to? Second of all, how they are responding physiologically, and creating an exposure record. So there's the firefighters like it for the data that we're collecting. The incident managers like it for the opportunity that they can have data-driven decision-making opportunities. Family members of firefighters love it because they know that their family member and loved ones are better protected and monitored. And then there's also insurance companies, and the data we're collecting, we find goes into other sectors that we weren't planning on. And so when firefighters that have been doing pilot testing find out what they're being able to do for the fire service by collecting all this data, they like it even more.
It is just wonderful to see, and I can only imagine how they feel. And I appreciate you sharing a little bit of that. You know, this is one of those business ideas that seems at first blush to be a little bit of a wonderful charitable thing to do. Um, but the reality is, this is a tremendous business opportunity as well, right? This technology, although long lived, will evolve, grow, expand, and there are millions of firefighters around the country, and this technology can be deployed around the world. Give us a sense of the market potential for red line safety.
Well, the total addressable market for the industry that we're in is about a $20 billion market, and it's a global market. And we've seen international organizations that create this need, and we've reached out to them, and they've said we don't have a solution quite like what you've built. So most people that run businesses, they're mostly concerned about, what's the serviceable addressable market, what's the smaller market that we can get into, and which is rather large as well. But the potential that what we have is patented, and it's a first of its kind in this area of firefighting. And we're pretty excited because we've had people that have said, once you get this finished up and you launch it, you may have to be able to scale into a massive manufacturing capacity, because there's going to be a lot of people that are going to want it, because once they see it and once they see what it can do and the data that it can provide, you're going to need multiple systems to build a whole lot of it. And so we think that we'll be able to get into a majority of the market in a very short amount of time. And the good part is it's pretty inexpensive to manufacture this. Our business model is, of course, based on hardware sales, but we also deploy a SaaS. That's part of it, a subscription based. But there's others that have also said that we can monetize the data that we are gathering into such industries such as health insurance and real estate insurance. And while we have people that have been looking into those markets, we're feeling pretty good about where we're going to be in the early days. We've established some very good relationships on the national scale, and there's an international union that has indicated interest in the data that we're collecting just on the exposure gases that firefighters are exposed to. So we're kind of first to market in this industry at this scale, and I think it's a wide open market for us, we believe.
Well, this is really exciting for us to think about. Now, as this investment opportunity is available to anyone, right, to invest in. Tell us a little bit about your Wefunder campaign and why you decided to raise from the crowd.
Well, we've been very fortunate early on. Myself and our co-founder bootstrapped this. Then we had a CFO that helped us do a Regulation D equity raise to build the hardware. Homeland Security gave us a $150,000 grant because they wanted to incorporate our technology into a program that they're running to protect the country from wildfire. And so when we started interacting with DHS, they said, hey, can it do all these other things? And we said, well, no, not yet. So they gave us some fantastic ideas. And so we had to pivot, which means it's more funding, but it's better. And so right now, the idea is that we want to get this finished up. Our approach with Wefunder was fantastic. We really enjoyed the crowdfunding potential, because it seemed like, since we set the minimum amount that you can invest low, we are looking forward to being able to get all kinds of people in the communities that want to invest and simplify it. Because when we went to do some of these other Regulation D raises, we had a minimum amount, and it was kind of hard for a lot of people who wanted to invest, but our minimum was too high for them. But doing this crowdfunding allows those numbers to come way down to make it easy and accessible to anybody that wants to not only invest and have the opportunity to make some money on their investment, but they can invest in something that they can believe in, that they can champion a cause that's meaningful, that affects them and their friends and families and communities. So I think that's what I find exciting about this, is that it's a great opportunity for a lot of people to do a lot of good for a lot of others.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Now, let me just point out, folks in the super crowd, that you can visit the Wefunder page directly by using the URL s4g.biz/redline, s4g.biz/redline. That link that's on the screen will take you directly to the Wefunder page where you can see all of the deal terms, the offering specifics, and learn more about investing. Setting up an account and investing there is quick and easy. And I would just note that you may be asked for information you're not used to providing on when you do purchases, when you're shopping online. That's because this is a regulated marketplace. And so we're not talking about something casual. This is formal. The regulators are watching to make sure that Wefunder and that Scott are behaving themselves and comporting themselves in a way that is compliant with the law. So be aware that you may be asked for a few extra things, but that's to protect you in this regulated marketplace. Okay, we've got to take a break now, and when we come back, we're going to shift gears. We've been talking to Scott about his business, Redline Safety, and oh my gosh, what a business! Saving lives of firefighters, and in a huge marketplace. This is really an exciting opportunity. When we come back, we'll talk to Scott about his superpower. Stick around. You don't want to miss this.
Download a free copy of How to Make Money with Impact Crowdfunding. The book Sarah Hanks describes as
a fantastic overview, not just of crowdfunding investing, but of investing in general.
Andrew Savickas raved,
"This book offers unparalleled insights for anyone looking to make a difference."
Scan the QR code to get your copy. Supercrowd 25, where innovation meets impact.
18 hours of live content, 5 platforms, 1 global audience.
Join the largest event for regulated investment crowdfunding. Live pitches, expert panels, real change.
August 21st and 22nd.
Scan the code or visit thesupercrowd25.com to register free today.
Struggling to raise capital for your business? Unlock the power of the crowd with AI. My free guide, Crowdfunding Made Simple, walks you through every step to success. Get funded smarter, faster. Scan the QR code now for your free download.
Welcome back, everyone. We're to the Supercrowd Presents Superpowers for Good, and we're here today with Scott Holman. He's the CEO and founder of Redline Safety, and Scott is just doing amazing things in protecting the lives of firefighters, the America's bravest, if you will. And we're so excited to have him with us. We're going to shift gears now to talk to Scott about his superpower. So stick around. Scott, you are doing amazing things at Redline Safety, and I'm excited to have you here with us. As you think about the things you've been able to do and accomplish in your life, what would you describe as your superpower?
Well, I would think it's a bias for action. When I went through the Marine Corps boot camp when I was 20 years old, I came out of it feeling extremely confident and felt like there's nothing I couldn't do. And so I think a lot of it is about believing that I can do anything that I set my mind to, even if I haven't done it before. So I would say that's my superpower, is a bias for action.
That is powerful. That is so powerful. I have just a tiny kernel of that. And I get what you mean, because last night I fixed my garage door all by myself. Mm-hmm. And that was a big reach for me. So yeah, I get that sense. So you after you do something, you begin to believe, oh, I could do anything. And yeah. I just need a guide. I need someone to help me. I need to figure it out. So give us an example, if you could, of a particular time when you were able to use that superpower, that bias for action and faith in yourself to do something.
Well, I mean, I could talk more about Redline Safety, because that was obviously a bias for action. not knowing a lot about technology, never starting a business before. So that would be an example. But I'm going to go back a little bit further. When, shortly after I was married and we had our first child, I realized that, I wanted our family to live in a house. And so I've never built a house, but I wanted to get a house. And so I kind of had to find out what I could qualify for. And it was tough. So I set about finding a kit home. I went out and I purchased a kit home. We qualified to buy a piece of property up here in a rural community, and I started assembling a house out of a kit. And so that was another one of those things where I'd never done it before, but I had a bias for action, and I built our family a home. And of course, I had friends that would come up from the fire department, and they would help me build this, and I would inspire them to have a bias for action because I thought, oh, I've never thought of doing it. Hey, why not? Right. So I would say that's probably one of my favorite examples is, there was a need, as firefighters, we're trained to solve problems and come up with solutions in all kinds of dynamic scenarios. And at the time I thought, we need a house, and the only way I can do it is I have to build it myself. And I did.
That is amazing. That is amazing. That just so perfectly illustrates how you find yourself in the shoes you are wearing today as a CEO and founder after a career as a firefighter. That bias for action, and I can do anything, from up to and including building a house. Amazing. So, that perfectly illustrates that superpower, that bias for action and faith in yourself. Okay, Kate, let's talk a little bit about the fact that all of us at some level admire you for this. At some level, we want to be more like you. Give us some ideas about how we can learn to sort of channel our inner Scott Holman and be more like you and have developed that superpower, the bias for action.
Well, I would think a really good way to start would be, don't talk yourself out of trying to do something you've never done before, just because you haven't done it, because it doesn't mean that you can't do it. One of the things that I've had to do, of course, getting into this bias for action with Redline Safety is even though I'd never done it before, building the house, I did a lot of it. I did 90% of it myself. I did hire out other people to come up. But when it comes to starting a business or getting into that entrepreneurial space, believe in yourself. Don't be afraid to fail. Because if you think of Edison, right? Edison has a quote that something like, "I haven't failed. I just found 10,000 ways that don't work," right? When it comes to doing something. So, I'm not saying failure is okay, but don't be afraid of it, and build your team. Just like as an entrepreneur, if you don't know finance, find somebody that does, and build the team of subcontractors, right? If we get into this house building thing, you may be good at framing, but you're going to need people that do other things, and that's what you have to do. You have to kind of lean into this, and you have to find others that you can collaborate with. And there's services out there. There's a lot of community services that have entrepreneurial or startup opportunities, accelerators, incubators, and stuff that will help get you the training, because other people want to see you succeed. You just need to go find them. But it starts with that first step, that commitment that I'm going to do this. I'm going to try this. And if it doesn't work, I'm going to pivot, and I'm just going to keep trying, and I'm not going to quit.
That's amazing. What a great takeaway. As we wrap up, please tell people how they can learn more about Redline Safety and how they can connect with you personally.
Well, our website is redlinesafety.com. We have pretty much a lot of information on there. We've got our technology, Well, we have a problem, a solution. We have a contact us. If you want to reach out to us on our website, we have a contact us page. And, you can find me on social media on LinkedIn under Scott Holman. And I would love it if somebody has a question, or if there's something we could do to help. One of the things I'm really big into is collaborating and working with others. And so if I can be of service in any way to anybody, any of the viewers out there, if you have questions or advice, please reach out to us on our website. I think is the best.
Fantastic. Well, Scott, thank you very much for being with us. We wish you every success with this raise and saving the lives of firefighters.
Thank you very much, Devin. It's a pleasure to be here.
All righty. Let's do some good.